8-year-old girl pulls ancient Viking sword from lake. Just a girl. Archaeologists spend their entire lives uncovering the history of the world. Through their work, archaeologists have been able to slowly piece together the past. This amateur archaeologist uncovered one of the most significant archaeological artifacts in Sweden's history, and she did it by accident. A strange object. All of a sudden, the girl's foot reached something hard. He began to yell at her, but she ignored his calls. Ducking under the surface of the water, she gripped the strange object from its spot in the mud. The girl swung it around, raised it above her head, and yelled triumphantly. A mythical moment. Saga Vanecek is an 8-year-old girl who was relocated by her parents from Minneapolis to Sweden so they could be closer to her family. The family was on the shores of Lake Vidostern, spending some time at the holiday home. Saga, as if she was in a storybook, pulled a priceless artifact out of the water. A little fish. Saga absolutely adored swimming. Her summer days were spent up to her neck in the lake, skipping sticks and stones across the lake to see how far she could get them to go. As much as Saga loved the water, no one ever expected her to find what was hidden below the water. A dream come true. Every single child, regardless of their gender, has most likely grown up with mythical stories of fantastic beasts, knights, and royalty. And what person hasn't wished upon a shooting star that they could find a hidden treasure? Saga was a bit different though, and she was about to have all of her fantasies become a reality. The red buoy. Saga began to swim out further as her father yelled for her to grab the red buoy that was floating on the waves. Saga had to swim a little bit more to where the water was deeper. She felt the colder water swirling around her legs, and she began to shiver. Suddenly, a cold object brushed up against Saga's foot, almost causing her to scream. A hidden past. Because the summer had been so dry, the lake had lost a lot of water. The banks of the lake were a painful reminder that things used to be different. The drought that they were experiencing did much more than lower the water in the lake. It also brought up a secret from the past. A hidden past. Entire civilizations have been found thanks to the work of archaeologists. Did Saga actually find something from the past? She would soon find out that her day was going to a drastic turn. Too hard. Saga immediately thought it was a fish, but the object was too hard and large to be a fish. It was just as hard as a rock. As she moved her foot along the surface, she noticed that it was a strange shape. What could it be? She shoved her hands down into the water until she could feel the strange object with her fingers. Break free. The object appeared to be long and made of metal. Her chin was still above the surface as she reached further into the water to try to get a good grip on the object, but it wouldn't budge. Saga began pulling the object back and forth, allowing it to break free from the mud that was keeping it still. In one swing, Saga lifted it out of the water, raised it above her head, and then she began to yell. A major find. "Daddy, I found a sword!" Saga screamed with excitement. As her father turned his head to look at Saga, he saw what appeared to be a twisted tree branch in Saga's hands above her head. It only took a second for him to realize that Saga actually did find a sword. It was obviously rusted and old, but it was, in fact, a sword. The archaic weapon. Saga's father examined the ancient weapon immediately. That's when he decided to send it to the archaeologists at Jönköpingslands Museum so they could examine it as well. Their findings created chaos among the experts. Divers started to arrive to search the bottom of the lake for more treasure. A mind-boggling find. The age of the sword is what truly fascinated people. The experts who examined the sword believe it's about 1,500 years old, which dates back to the pre-Viking era. It's about 85 centimeters long, and there's also preserved wood and metal around it. We're very keen to see the conservation staff do their work and see more of the details of the sword, explained the director of the museum, Mikael Nordstrom. A simple request. The museum's archaeologists did have one odd request to ask of Vanecek. They needed the family to keep the sword a secret. They believed that if news of the sword got out to the public, then way too many people would want to scour the lake for more treasure. The archaeologists wanted to be able to send the experts down there first. More treasure. While they searched the lake for more artifacts, the archaeologists found a coin from the 18th century and a brooch that they believed was as old as the sword, which can be dated back to the 6th century. It took a year for the archaeologists to verify everything and look for other artifacts, but then Saga was given permission to tell her story. A significant find. Mikael Nordstrom from the museum was explaining the importance of this sword to their history when he said, "It's not every day that one steps on a sword in the lake." And what's really astonishing is that it was found by an 8-year-old girl, Saga. But how has this finding affected Saga's life? An ambitious girl. So how does the Lady of the Lake feel about becoming internet famous? Her father states that fame hasn't fazed her at all. She still wants to be a doctor, a movie star in Paris, or a veterinarian when she's older. But she does have a newfound interest in cool archaeological old stuff. An interview. I was outside in the water throwing sticks and stones and stuff to see how far they skip, and then I found some kind of stick. I picked it up and was going to drop it back in the water, but it had a handle, and I saw that it was a little bit pointy at the end and all rusty. I held it up in the air and I said, "Daddy, I found a sword," Saga said in the interview with the Swedish news site, The Local. So how did the sword actually get into the lake? A few theories. Why it has come to be there, we don't know. When we searched a couple weeks ago, we found another prehistoric object, a brooch from around the same time period as the sword. So that means we just don't know yet. Perhaps it's part of a sacrifice. At first, we thought it could be graves situated nearby the lake, but we don't think that anymore, said Mikael Nordstrom from the Jönköpings Lands Museum. A party. Saga was finally able to tell the kids in her class about her find. Her teacher was so excited that they decided to buy the entire class ice cream while they watched the news to see Saga's tale. They thought that it was very funny and interesting to know about my story, Saga said. Could there be more treasure in the lake? Only time will tell. Check out these other videos from Let Me Know. If you haven't made the move to subscribe to our channel, all you need to do is click on that red subscribe button. Thank you for watching.